You walk into a room and before you even say a word, something shifts. People do not consciously notice it, yet they react to it. Some become more attentive, others become unusually quiet, and a few begin watching you carefully, as if they are trying to understand you. You did not introduce yourself with authority, and you did not demand attention, yet attention found you. This is not about appearance or status, it is about presence. Human beings read emotional signals faster than spoken language, and your emotional state communicates stability. When someone carries inner clarity, it affects the emotional atmosphere around them. Conversations slow down because people become aware of themselves. They adjust their behavior without realizing why. You may think you are simply being normal, but to others, you feel grounded and certain. People are naturally drawn towards steadiness because it provides psychological safety. At the same time, those who rely on chaos or performance feel uncomfortable because your calm exposes their uncertainty. You are not trying to lead anyone, yet your behavior quietly influences how others act. That is why people remember you even when the conversation was ordinary. They are not remembering your words. They are remembering how they felt around you. Later, you may hear something interesting. Someone will say you have a strong personality even though you spoke gently. Another person will say you are intimidating even though you were respectful. What they are reacting to is not aggression. It is emotional consistency. Most environments are filled with people adjusting themselves to gain approval. When a person does not constantly seek validation, it becomes noticeable. Your presence communicates that you are comfortable with who you are, and that makes others examine themselves. For some, this is reassuring because they feel safe around someone who is not pretending. For others, it is unsettling because they feel observed even when you are simply listening. You may even notice that disagreements rarely escalate around you. People choose their words more carefully. They do not want to disappoint you, even if you never asked for that expectation. This is influence created without force. It comes from alignment between thoughts, words, and actions. A powerful aura does not require loudness. It requires authenticity maintained consistently. When who you are inside matches how you behave outside, the environment responds automatically. You do not control the room, but your presence shapes it. And the important lesson is this: the effect is not something you perform, it is something you live. You begin to notice a repeating pattern in your life. People talk to you differently than they talk to others. Conversations that start casually quickly become personal. Someone you barely know starts sharing worries about their family, their fears about the future, or mistakes they have never admitted aloud. You did not ask probing questions, and you did not promise solutions, yet they trusted you. This happens because your attention is sincere. When you listen, you are not preparing your reply, you are present. Most people rarely feel fully heard, so when they encounter someone who listens without judgment, emotional walls lower naturally. Your energy communicates patience and honesty. You do not rush to fix them, and that makes them feel respected rather than evaluated. However, there is another side to this experience. While some feel relief near you, others feel exposed. They sense you notice what is unsaid. Small contradictions, forced smiles, and hidden frustration become visible to you without effort. You do not confront them, but your awareness alone makes them uneasy. It is not that you are analyzing them intentionally. Your perception simply observes details others overlook. Because of this, people cannot easily maintain a false image around you. A powerful presence encourages truth, and truth can feel uncomfortable to someone who is avoiding it. Over time, you understand why certain people suddenly distance themselves. It is not always because of conflict. Sometimes it is because your presence requires authenticity. Individuals who prefer superficial conversation may feel pressure near you even when you say very little. Your silence becomes meaningful. When you choose not to participate in gossip or exaggeration, others notice immediately. You are not correcting them, yet your calm behavior quietly sets a standard. Some will appreciate this and feel safe to be real. Others will interpret it as judgment even though you never judged them. This is one of the clearest signs your aura is strong. You do not control people's choices, but you influence their honesty. Around you, people either become genuine or uncomfortable. The lesson is not to change yourself to make everyone comfortable. The lesson is to remain kind while staying truthful. You are not responsible for the reactions created by sincerity. Your role is simply to be consistent. When your inner state matches your outward behavior, trust forms naturally, and those who value truth will stay, while those who avoid it will quietly step away. At some point, you begin to feel a quiet discomfort in places that once felt familiar. The same routines continue, the same conversations repeat, yet your interest fades. It is not boredom, and it is not disrespect toward people. It is awareness. You start noticing how much of daily life runs on habit rather than intention. Discussions revolve around comparison, complaints, and temporary excitement, and you feel disconnected from it. You try to participate, but your energy lowers instead of rising. This is a sign of inner growth. When your understanding expands, environments that once matched your mindset no longer fit. You do not reject others, you simply recognize that your direction has changed. People may assume you have become distant or proud, but in truth, you have become clear. You now pay attention to what strengthens you and what drains you. You choose meaningful conversations over constant noise. You prefer a small circle of genuine connection rather than a large group of shallow interaction. Because of this, you begin to step away from spaces that depend on negativity, competition, or endless approval seeking. You are not escaping people. You are protecting energy. A powerful aura requires alignment, and alignment cannot grow in an environment that pulls you away from yourself. This change also appears in your decisions. Opportunities that once excited you now feel empty if they lack purpose. You start asking why before you say yes. You no longer commit simply to satisfy expectations. At first, this creates confusion around you. Friends wonder why you decline invitations you used to accept. Colleagues question why you avoid unnecessary conflict instead of joining it. They remember the version of you that adapted easily, and they struggle to understand the version of you that chooses intentionally. What they see as withdrawal is actually direction. You are learning that attention is limited, and where you place it shapes your life. So you invest it carefully. You become more patient with your goals and more selective with your time. As you move toward growth, some relationships naturally fade, not because of anger, but because they belonged to a previous stage of your life. This can feel lonely for a while, yet it is also peaceful. You realize you are not losing connection, you are refining it. A strong presence evolves quietly. It does not rush, and it does not force others to follow. It simply continues forward, and those who share similar values walk beside you while others remain where they are comfortable. You may notice that reactions toward you are rarely neutral. Some people respect you quickly and feel comfortable seeking your advice, while others form opinions about you without real interaction. You might hear that you are confident, reserved, proud, or difficult, even when your behavior has been calm and respectful. This happens because your presence acts like a mirror. People often respond not to who you are, but to what they feel about themselves in your presence. When someone carries doubt, your certainty makes them aware of it. When someone hides insecurity, your calm stability highlights it. You are not trying to reveal anything, yet your consistency removes the space where pretense survives easily. For individuals who are secure within themselves, your company feels reassuring. They relax and become open. But for someone who depends on approval or comparison, your independence feels threatening. They may assume you think you are better than them, even when you never communicated that idea. This is projection. Instead of examining their own discomfort, they attach it to you. You become the explanation for emotions that actually began inside them. Understanding this protects you from unnecessary self-doubt. Not every negative reaction you receive is a reflection of your behavior. Sometimes it is a reflection of another person confronting themselves. Because of this, you may be misunderstood more often than others. You will be judged without full context and occasionally blamed for distance you did not create. Your quiet decisions may be interpreted as rejection, and your boundaries may be labeled attitude. In the past, you might have tried to correct every misunderstanding, explaining your intentions repeatedly. Over time, you realize explanation does not always change perception. People hear according to their readiness, not only according to your words. So you begin choosing peace over persuasion. You remain respectful, but stop over-defending yourself. You learn that clarity in your own mind matters more than approval in every mind. This does not make you indifferent. It makes you steady. A powerful aura requires emotional responsibility. You continue treating others kindly, yet you stop carrying emotions that do not belong to you. When you understand projection, you no longer shrink yourself to avoid it. You accept that authenticity will attract the right people and confuse the wrong ones. Your role is not to manage every opinion. Your role is to remain genuine, consistent, and fair, trusting that those who truly understand you will judge you by experience rather than assumption. You slowly discover that you do not need to speak as much as you once did. There was a time you explained every decision, clarified every misunderstanding, and responded to every opinion. Now you pause. Not because you have nothing to say, but because you understand not every moment requires words. Silence becomes a choice rather than hesitation. You listen carefully, observing tone, intention, and emotion behind sentences. Many people speak to be heard, yet few speak to understand. When you choose to listen fully, conversations change. Others feel acknowledged, and tension lowers. At the same time, your quietness unsettles those who depend on reaction. They expect immediate answers, quick defenses, or emotional responses. Instead, they encounter calm attention. Your silence communicates confidence. You are no longer proving yourself in every discussion. You respond when your words add value, and you remain quiet when they do not. This restraint protects your energy and keeps conversations meaningful. You notice that when you finally speak, people pay attention because they know you do not speak carelessly. A powerful aura does not rely on constant expression. It relies on thoughtful expression. Your presence begins to carry weight, not because you dominate the conversation, but because you respect it. With time, you realize silence also protects your inner stability. Not every criticism deserves a reply, and not every disagreement requires victory. You begin to choose understanding instead of reaction. In moments of tension, you slow your response and allow emotions to settle before answering. This often prevents conflicts from escalating. Others may interpret this as distance, yet it is discipline. You are learning to manage your reactions rather than letting reactions manage you. You stop seeking validation through argument and start seeking clarity through reflection. When someone misunderstands you, you explain once with sincerity and then let it rest. You no longer repeat yourself to force acceptance. Your peace becomes more important than being right. This does not mean weakness, it means control. Emotional steadiness influences people more than loud insistence ever could. Gradually, you notice people approach you differently. They speak more respectfully and listen more carefully because your behavior sets a tone. You are teaching through example that calm communication creates stronger connection than constant debate. A strong presence is not measured by how much you say, but by how intentional your words become. You begin to notice a deeper sense of purpose guiding your actions. It is no longer enough to move through life reacting to circumstances or fulfilling obligations. Every choice starts to be measured against meaning and alignment with your values. Opportunities that once excited you now feel empty if they lack significance. This does not mean you reject joy or simple pleasures, but your focus shifts toward contribution and impact. You seek experiences that strengthen your growth and enrich your understanding of yourself and others. Gradually, you recognize that living without purpose creates a quiet dissatisfaction, even if everything on the surface seems fine. Your aura responds to this internal alignment. When you act intentionally, people sense it. They notice that your energy is different from those who move through life mechanically. Some are drawn to this authenticity, inspired by the clarity it represents. Others feel challenged because your commitment highlights their lack of direction. This is not about judgment. It is about resonance. A powerful aura attracts people who share similar values and gently distances those whose priorities are disconnected. You realize that your impact is less about what you say and more about how you live. The presence of someone grounded in purpose naturally encourages reflection and growth in others. As your purpose grows, so does selectivity in your attention and relationships. Time and energy become more precious because you recognize their finite nature. You no longer invest in situations that do not nourish your mind, spirit, or goals. This means learning to say no without guilt and setting boundaries without explanation. Those who respect your choices feel encouraged to be authentic themselves. Those who cannot respect your focus may step back, creating space for connections that matter. You begin to notice how few people truly operate with intention and how valuable genuine interaction becomes. Your awareness expands to observe not only your own priorities, but also the energy that others bring into your life. You become attentive to consistency, honesty, and alignment. You no longer chase validation or approval because you understand that inner conviction is stronger than external praise. A powerful aura is fueled by alignment between values, actions, and presence. The energy you project is natural, steady, and magnetic because it reflects authenticity rather than performance. You start to see that influence is a byproduct of living deliberately, not a result of trying to impress or control. Your clarity about purpose reshapes your interactions, your decisions, and your trajectory in life. In time, you realize that living with purpose is not just a choice. It is a responsibility to yourself, and those around you sense its quiet power. You start to notice that solitude is no longer something to avoid, but something you seek. Time alone no longer feels like emptiness. It feels restorative. In these moments, you reconnect with your thoughts, your intentions, and your energy. You reflect on experiences, analyze decisions, and consider the direction you want to move toward next. Solitude allows you to observe patterns without external distraction. You begin to see how your presence affects others and why certain interactions feel draining. Being alone gives clarity. It allows your mind to settle, your emotions to balance, and your intuition to guide choices without interference. You do not feel lonely because you are in good company, yourself. In these moments, creativity flows naturally, and your understanding of situations deepens. You notice that after periods of quiet reflection, your actions become more intentional, your responses more measured, and your energy more focused. Solitude is not withdrawal from life. It is preparation to engage with it fully. Your aura strengthens when you respect your need for these reflective periods because it becomes more centered, calm, and self-aware. The energy you bring into social situations is sharper yet peaceful because it is grounded in clarity rather than reaction. Over time, this appreciation for solitude changes how you manage relationships. You become more selective about who you allow into your life. People who respect your space and align with your values naturally remain, while those who drain energy or create unnecessary tension gradually step away. This selectivity is not exclusionary, it is protection. It ensures that your attention and presence are invested in interactions that nourish rather than exhaust. Your ability to enjoy and benefit from your own company sets a standard that others notice. They begin to understand that connection with you requires mutual respect and authenticity. Your boundaries communicate that your energy is valuable, and only those willing to engage honestly are welcome. Over time, the quality of your relationships improves, creating deeper bonds and more meaningful interactions. You learn to balance openness with discernment, kindness with protection, and presence with space. Your aura grows stronger because it is no longer scattered in pursuit of approval or forced connection. Instead, it resonates with integrity, self-respect, and conscious choice, attracting those who appreciate genuine energy. Solitude does not isolate you. It refines your energy, making your presence more powerful, purposeful, and magnetic to the right people. Even when you try to blend in, people notice you. It is not about appearance, wealth, or influence. It is about presence. You can sit quietly in a group, engage minimally, and yet your energy makes you visible. People instinctively feel your consistency, calmness, and authenticity. They cannot ignore it because human perception responds to energy more than words. Your actions, choices, and alignment communicate something that cannot be fabricated. Even when you try to be ordinary, the strength of your aura makes you stand out. This visibility is not always comfortable for others. Some feel inspired and drawn to your steadiness. Others feel a subtle pressure because they sense clarity, discipline, and authenticity that they may lack. You begin to understand that influence is not about controlling others or demanding attention. Influence occurs naturally when someone embodies truth and alignment in every moment. Your energy communicates what words cannot. People sense that you are not distracted by need for approval or recognition. You operate from internal conviction, not external expectation. That is why you are noticed, even in silence. It is not forceful presence, it is natural resonance. The right individuals are drawn to this energy. The wrong ones may feel challenged or uncomfortable, but both reactions confirm the reality of your strength. You no longer try to explain yourself constantly, because your consistency speaks for you. Your energy signals authenticity before introductions are made or conversations begin. At the same time, you notice your presence subtly encourages growth in others. People reflect on themselves when they are around you. They examine their choices, habits, and alignment without you ever instructing them. Some feel motivated to improve, while others feel pressure to confront their discomforts. This is a hallmark of a powerful aura. It elicits honesty in those around you. You are not responsible for their reactions, but your energy acts as a catalyst. This creates a filter. People who resonate with your clarity and authenticity stay close, and those who resist it move away naturally. Your presence is magnetic because it reflects integrity, purpose, and emotional steadiness. You realize that being noticed is not about seeking attention. It is about being fully yourself. The moment you embrace your authenticity and allow it to guide your interactions, you stop worrying about who can handle your energy. You focus instead on living with alignment, meaning, and respect. That alignment creates a natural authority that others respond to instinctively. People notice your aura because it is grounded in reality, purpose, and inner clarity. And this is the true mark of power, not being seen by everyone, but being undeniable to those who matter.